Thanks for hanging with us. Mike's out with Kip Lewis. I am Pat Boyle. Welcome to SportsNet Central, presented by GMC. Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts tells us the moment he realized the Cubs were a legit playoff contender.
The Bulls tipped things off with Media Day today, and Derrick Rose stole the show with some surprising comments.
When you talk about that much money, the only thing you can do is prepare for it.
The house cleaning at Hallis Hall has begun as the Bears part ways with a couple key names on defense.
We go to the dish like they do on the north side. Put your hands together for SportsNet Central.
You are connected to SportsNet Central, presented by GMC.
On the heels of their 0-3 start, the Bears have made a pair of moves, trading Jared Allen to the Carolina Panthers for a reported conditional 6th-round pick next year. And John Bostic, a 2nd-round pick in 2013, was dealt to the Patriots. Bostic has battled injuries over the last year, while Allen never really fit in with the new 3-4 scheme. Here's how Allen's teammates reacted to the news.
We lose a leader out of the locker room. We lose a great guy. A great teammate.
He can break down every, critique every spot on the defensive line, and it kind of gives you an edge to have a leader like that and give you pointers that's been in the league and did it and had a lot of sacks, and he's definitely going to be missed.
A 20-game winner as he takes the mound for the Cubs here tonight. And he is toying with them right now. 8 batters and 6 strikeouts. Arrieta drives one. Hold that thought. Arrieta's hit it out. A rocket to right center, an opposite field home run for Jake Arrieta. He's pretty good.
Yes, he is. He did it all last night. Now to the hunt for October, presented by Feldco. And it's the hunt for the NL Cy Young. Jake Arrieta added to his already impressive resume last night, flirting with a perfect game into the 7th inning. Jake will have to settle for the NL Player of the Week honors for now, after going 2-0 last week with a 0 ERA, upping his consecutive quality starts to 19 in a row. Cubs looking for another shutout on this night. Makeup game against the Royals. We had it for you. Chris Bryant playing first. He played everywhere tonight, giving Anthony Rizzo just his 2nd day off of the season. Bryant the first, taking Yordano Ventura for a ride. The ball dies at the track. Bryant gets his first fielding opportunity in the 4th. Mike Moustakas rips one down the line just past Bryant's glove. Moustakas pulls into second with a double. Couple batters later, Bryant makes the play on Alex Rios' bouncer and tosses to Kyle Hendricks. We're scoreless through 4. Meanwhile, Ventura, he was dealing for the Royals. Cubs sent the minimum 15 men to the plate in the first 5 frames. None of them reached base. 4 punch-outs for Ventura. He was perfect through 5. But in the 6th, Jorge Soler digs in, leading off. Sends one up the middle. Cubs' first base runner of the night. Ventura's bid for perfection is over. The Cubs would fail to score there. Next inning, Starlin Castro stepped to the dish with a man at 3rd and 2 outs. Ventura takes care of him. So we're scoreless after 7. Top of the 9th. Still bagels on the board. Lorenzo Cain at first. Hector Rondon and Chris Coughlin catching napping. Huge pickoff. Cubs go down in order in the bottom half. We head to extras. Chris Denorfia with last call in Wrigleyville.
Driven deep to left. Ball game over. Cubs win. Cubs win. Chris Denorfia.
Cubs take it 1-0 in their regular season home finale. Their 13th walk-off win of the year. You know what that means. Another shower. Kelly Krull and Denorfia after the game.
It seems fitting that a walk-off would be the way this team would wrap up the regular season in front of their home fans.
Yeah, what a great night. Just great pitching all around, both sides.
That first pitch you were swinging, what'd you see?
Yeah, I know he's going to try to get ahead right there, and and I got a fastball in the middle, so I put a good swing on it, and now we can go on this last road trip and hopefully wrap up this season in style.
Keep things rolling. Chris, thank you so much.
All right, thanks.
There you guys go. Chris Denorfia, the hero tonight. Cubs win it 1-0.
Kelly's used to that Gatorade shower. Just steps out of the way, no
She's
big
quick,
deal.
quick on her feet.
Tom Ricketts, he was doused in champagne Saturday afternoon. He stopped by our studios, told us the moment he knew the Cubs were playoff contenders, the Madden effect, and how he expects this young team to handle the postseason stage. Our conversation with the Cubs chairman later in the show.
Let's take a look at the other NL Central playoff teams. Cardinals and Pirates, no score in the seventh. Scary moment here. Center fielder Peter Borges and Steven Piscotty collided in the outfield. Piscotty would lay motionless on the field for several minutes. Borges' knee would hit Piscotty in his head and neck area. After laying on the ground motionless for several minutes, Piscotty would wave to the crowd as he left the field on the cart. Good news, initial scans were negative, and Mike Matheny said afterwards, it's looking good. In the ninth, after a Pirates errors give the Cardinals a 1-0 lead, Mark Reynolds adds to it. He goes yard to deep right center, two-run shot that makes this game 3-0. The Cardinals score 3 in the ninth. They beat the Pirates 3-0. So here's a look at the NL Central standings. The Cubs cut the Pirates' lead in the wild card race to just 3.5 games with 6 games to go. The Cubs are in Cincinnati tomorrow, and you can see that game right here on Comcast SportsNet at 6 p.m.
Wild scene yesterday in the Nationals dugout when closer Jonathan Papelbon called out Bryce Harper for not running hard to first on this pop-up. There you see Papelbon jawing at him. And then, then he choked the NL MVP frontrunner before they were eventually separated. Today, the Nationals suspended him for 4 games. That, coupled with MLB's 3-game suspension for throwing at Manny Machado, effectively ends Papelbon's season and probably his time with the Nationals. Time up for tonight's Country Financial top performers. Speaking of the Nationals, Max Scherzer flirted with a no-hitter while striking out 10 in the Nationals win against the Reds. Travis Shaw went 3 for 4, 2 RBI, as the Red Sox took care of their hated rival from the Bronx. And Trevor Rosenthal picked up his 48th save of the season for St. Louis.
Well, the Bulls held Media Day at the Advocate Center and tip-off training camp tomorrow. Getting players healthy will be key. Taj Gibson is recovering from ankle surgery, and Mike Dunleavy could miss a month of the season after a back procedure. But as Chuck Garfien reports, today the focus was on Derrick Rose.
The Bulls have a new coach and new hope for the upcoming season. But much of the focus here on Media Day was on Derrick Rose. Plagued by injuries the last few seasons, this is the healthiest he's been in years.
Just getting back to a routine. This is something that I haven't did in 3 or 4 years, and now I had the opportunity to do it all over again or start back doing it again, and it felt good.
Speaking publicly for the first time since the sexual assault civil suit was filed against him, Rose professed his innocence.
I will be proven innocent, but at the same time, it hasn't affected anything. It's not true. I take it as motivation.
Derrick's part of our family, and Derrick has our full support, and I know that Derrick's got full support of his teammates. Like I talked about earlier, I think he's in a great place physically. I think he's in a really good place mentally.
He's a good teammate, good person on and off the court. He's been one of the best friends I had since I've been here. Always been supportive, so I'm behind him 110%.
Rose says he's focusing on moving on from the lawsuit, and he's also looking ahead to his future. With 2 years remaining on his contract, he says his hope and dream is to re-sign with the Bulls. With all the money flowing into the league right now, he says he is keeping his options open.
You see all the money that they're passing out in this league, and just telling the truth. And just knowing that my day will be coming up soon.
Are you looking forward to the process of testing the market, or when you talk about thinking about that, thinking about here and getting paid to stay here?
Here is here, but when you talk about that much money, only thing you could do is prepare for it. Trying to prepare not only myself but my family, and doing this all is for my son.
At the Advocate Center, Chuck Garfien, Comcast SportsNet.
All right, D. Rose is talking about free agency, which is 2 years away. Joakim Noah, he's in the final year of his deal. How does he expect to fit into Fred Hoiberg's offense? Theo Epstein is seeing his plan come to fruition, but what's his future with the franchise? Tom Ricketts drops by the studio to discuss that and a whole lot more. Plus, why the Jared Allen trade was inevitable. Allen wasn't the only member of the Bears defense sent packing on this day. Those stories and more when SportsNet Central returns.
SportsNet Central on Comcast SportsNet is presented to you by GMC. We are professional grade.
A pitcher who can paint the corners is known as a Rembrandt. At GMC, we get why people love that kind of precision. After all, in everything we build, that's exactly what we deliver. This is precision. This is GMC.
Now pay no interest for 5 years. Plus get $3,000 purchase cash on select 2015 Sierra Crew Cab SLT models in stock the longest.
You're in a fantasy league every year. Get paid for that knowledge. FanDuel's one-week leagues let you win money any week, not once a year. Play with your friends or try a public league for big bucks. You don't have to play the whole season. Smarter than the average fan? Try a 50-50 league and win some cash. Someone's going to get $1 million on FanDuel this Sunday. Let's see how you stack up. Go to FanDuel.com to get up to $200 bonus. Love it or your money back, guaranteed. Enter promo code ROUTE3.
I just had a horrible nightmare. My company's entire network went down and I was home in bed unaware. But that would never happen. Comcast Business monitors my company's network 24 hours a day and calls and emails me if something like this scary storm takes it offline, so I can rest easy. What, you don't have a desk bed?
Don't be left in the dark. Get proactive alerts 24/7. Comcast Business, built for business.
Honda knows just because you're looking for a utility vehicle doesn't always mean you're looking for adventure. You might just be looking for a coffee table. That's why our vehicles come with smartly designed interiors and technology to adapt to just about anything. It's more than just utility. It's modern utility. Nothing compares to a Honda. KBB.com's best value brand.
On Tuesday night, join Comcast SportsNet for a Coors Light viewing party at Chaser Sports Bar and Grill in Lake Zurich. Watch the Northsiders battle Cincinnati, enjoy Coors Light, and free giveaways. Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Great beer equals great responsibility.
Joined now by the chairman of the Chicago Cubs, Tom Ricketts. Tom, Cubs fans are beaming all around this town in our newsroom. Even the Sox fans have enjoyed this ride that your team has been on this year. How have you enjoyed it?
Oh, it's been a fantastic summer. I mean, it really has. Like to watch Joe and what he's done with the young players, to watch all these young guys come in and have them develop, to see Jake have the kind of year he's had. I mean, it's really been special. And in walking around the ballpark, as you know, I do every game, like it's just the energy is just so positive, and people know that we're onto something special.
Was there a point this year, whether it was a game, a series, a particular streak, that you said, okay, we're not only ahead of schedule, but the playoffs are a real possibility and a real opportunity that we should be able to achieve?
Well, obviously the most obvious one is the 4-game homestand against the Giants in early August. And that was kind of our statement week. I mean, we said, hey, look, if we're gonna get this wild card, we're gonna have to hold off the Giants, and we really performed.
You've got a great relationship with Theo. We know he has another year left on his deal. Are you confident that when the time is right, the two of you will sit down and you'll continue this partnership long term?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. When we'll get to that point at some point soon here. We'll talk about what the future holds. Obviously, you know, Theo's done a great job. What he would also say is that everybody else in the organization has done a great job with him. Like, it's not just one guy, it's a whole bunch of guys, and the scouts and all the player development people that have worked so hard to get the team where it is today.
The saying is what, innocence is bliss. You look at this team, they say, you know, act like you've been there before. Well, they haven't been there before. At least they haven't in Major League Baseball, most of them. Do you get the impression that this young team, the stage won't be too big for them because they're going to go out and attack it like they pretty much have done the 162 and everything else and just have fun with it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that our guys will have I think we'll be very successful in the playoffs, and I think part of it is they have the confidence that I mentioned briefly earlier, and you know, it is just baseball, and Joe will remind them. I mean, Joe has a history of taking relatively young teams pretty deep in the playoffs. And I think part of it is he just reminds the guys, hey, you're good ball players. We're a good team. We won a lot of games. We can play with these guys. Let's just get out there and do it.
We're all looking forward to October 7th. Tom, enjoy the rest of the ride.
Thanks, Pat.
Well, thanks, guys. As we told you at the top of the show, the Bears have traded Jared Allen to the Panthers and John Bostic to the Patriots. Allen was a force in a 3-4 system, but never really fit into the Bears' new 3-4 scheme, proving to be a challenge and apparently didn't work out. Well, here's a look at what Allen did in his short time in Chicago. In 18 games with the Bears, Allen had 60 tackles, 5.5 sacks, and 1 interception, which came back in Week 2 against the Cardinals. Our Great Clips download of the week features the most popular video on CSNChicago.com over the past 7 days. High school football down in Texas. The Midland League kicker lines up the extra point. The kick is low, and it hits the referee in the head and then deflects through the uprights. It's good. To see more, log on to CSNChicago.com and download the Great Clips app on your iPhone or Android and save some time today.
Bulls' first training camp workout is tomorrow. Today was media day. Derrick Rose taking center stage, discussing his legal issues and free agency that's still a couple years away. Let's send it over to our Bulls pre- and post-game live crew, Mark Shanowski and Will Perdue.
All right, thank you very much. You know, Will, obviously you got to cut through some of the garbage when it comes to media day festivities. A lot of comments that are made, whether it's coach speak or player speak, you don't really get a guy's honest feelings. But as we've talked about in the past, Derrick Rose has no filter. And when someone asked him about free agency, he said, well, yeah, there's a lot of money out there, so I have to pay attention. You read anything into those comments?
Not really. Just him being honest that there is a lot of money out there, especially with the new TV deal. And that tells you that he's looking into the future. So he's not just looking at this season, but he's looking into the future because he believes that he wants to be here for a long time. The follow-up question was, well, does that mean you want to test free agency? And he said, well, no. He related to he wants to stay here. People talk about the fact that it could be better for him to go elsewhere and play because of the pressures. He wants to play for the Chicago Bulls. He wants to bring a championship to Chicago. I think people are going to try to read into that. But at the end of the day, we know what Derrick Rose is concerned about. He wants to try to win a championship here. And if you ask him a question, he's going to tell you what he's thinking.
Well, it's important to point out that Derrick Rose will not be a free agent until the summer of 2017. A guy who will be a free agent next summer is Joakim Noah. And Joakim Noah is coming off an injury-marred season. Now there's a question of, is he a good fit in the Fred Hoiberg offensive system? This is a big season for number 13.
It really is. And now he's in a position to where he kind of almost has to prove himself once again. I think that he has the ability. He still has the talent. What we don't know is the significance of the injury that he occurred, and the surgery. How is he and how can he play back-to-backs? Now they're talking about there's more time and there's fewer back-to-backs. I think that fits well into him, but what we don't know is how he fits into Fred Hoiberg's system.
Well, media day is now in the books, and the real work begins with practices here at the Advocate Center leading up to the first preseason game on October 6th. For Will, I'm Mark. We send it back to the studio.
Guys, thank you. Blackhawks continue getting ready for their season opener a week from Wednesday at the United Center when they'll raise their 6th Stanley Cup to the rafters. They got 2 preseason games left, and the 2-time Stanley Cup champion Marcus Kruger will likely play in both of those games. He was patient with the Hawks working on a new deal this offseason. His late signing also produced visa issues, so he was a little late getting to training camp. But the fourth-line center knew he'd end up back here.
obviously knew the situation here, what it was, and I just tried to be patient. We had good talks from the beginning, so I wasn't really worried it wouldn't happen.
He's a guy that we can rely on every night. A solid player up the middle, great centerman. So just one of those key guys that plays well on PK, can add some offense too.
Kyle Schwarber drew the ire of Jake Peavy earlier in the season for his walk-up music. Coming up, we'll take a closer look at how the players choose their songs and which Cub is the biggest Taylor Swift fan, along with Pat Boyle.
One day I woke up and bam, boobs.
It's the best part of being a mom.
We get them checked every year. It's a sister thing.
I got my mammogram.
Push-up bras are the best.
Push-up bras are the worst.
I'm a survivor. Now I worry about her.
The relationship with your breasts is lifelong. An Advocate makes it easier with mammograms and the results. Today, why wait?
Country Financial wants to know, what if you could own your future?
I mean, I would spend it with family and friends. Travel more.
Retire.
And make decisions that aren't fear-based about money.
At Country Financial, we take the time to get to know you so we can develop a plan with insurance and financial solutions to help you take charge of where you want to be.
Have that fear removed from my mind.
To help you own your future.
To be in control of your future.
Visit ownyourfuture.com to find a local Country Financial representative today.
It's that time of year. There's going to be a lot that scares you. Replacing your windows shouldn't be one of them.
Call 866 for Feldco.
Right now, get 2 windows for the price of 1, plus no money down and no interest until 2017.
Hurry, this treat and 2 windows for the price of 1 ends soon. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Who says desirable can't also be responsible? With 46 standard safety features, the Lexus RX is proof that fun can be good for you. Lease the 2015 RX 350 for $399 a month for 36 months. See your Lexus dealer.
Welcome back. Our GMC professional grade player is Kyle Hendricks, who pitched one of his best games of the year tonight at Wrigley Field. He went 6 scoreless innings and struck out a career-high 9 batters.
Ask him to, just get in the box like all of his other teammates did, and not kick dirt around the batter's box and listen to our intro song. That was all I said.
One of the new wrinkles with this year's Cubs team is walk-up music selected by the player. You've seen it, heard it around the majors for years, but the Northsiders added the musical intro when the new scoreboards and speakers were added. Ando en la Versace by Omega is Starlin Castro's walk-up tune, and it's become a crowd favorite as everyone claps in unison in the stands and in the Cubs dugout. We take a look at the Northsiders' choice in music in tonight's Hunt for October, presented by Feldco.
We all love music. I think everybody loves music. So when you get to hear somebody's cool walk-up music, 1, it says a lot about their personality, and 2, it's fun for us in the dugout, or when I hear songs now, even on the radio, like, oh, there's Rizzo's walk song, or there, there's Addie's walk-up song. So it's pretty cool. It just is like your little staple, or your little signature move in baseball, I guess.
Yeah, for me, I keep mine the same the whole year, but I think it's something that's not too popular, that gets you pumped for your at-bat or for your inning, your pitching, or your start. But a lot of guys change theirs here and there. I keep mine the same all year long, but we have some pretty good ones on the team, I think.
You listen to your iPod, or you're just sitting there listening to music. You're like, oh, this could be a really good walk-up song for when I go up to the plate. It's just something that relaxes you, something that gets you fired up. Whatever works for that person, it just kind of hits you when you're listening to your music.
Whoever knows me knows I like a lot of different genres of music, but T-Swift Bad Blood. I think it's a good one.
The crowd gets going with it. You knew that, though.
Of course. We got a lot of guys that have good crowd-pleasing songs.
Definitely Rizzo's walk-up music. It's more house music, upbeat, poppy feel, great women vocalist on there, you know, and it sounds good, and he rocks it pretty well.
Rizzo's got a catchy tune, you know. Rizzo's got a catchy tune. I like Hendrix. I like Hamill. I like Mott. I like them all. It's added a different element, I think, to the game. And the fans are cool there because they talk about it a lot, you know. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. But, you know, I think the guys got it nailed down pretty good.
A lot of people like to put their walk-ups to like what they like to listen to or what they like to jam to or what gets them pumped, you know. Me, I kind of like to have my walk-up like kind of reflect on who I am. I'm kind of like a laid-back guy, you know. It's Vampire by Travel Sea. It starts out, you know, la da da, and that part kind of gets me pumped. But the overall genre of reggae, you know, it just keeps me chill, relaxed, and in some ways, you know, it kind of pumps me up.
In college and stuff, I thought really hard about mine because we didn't change ours in college. So you had yours, you stuck with it the whole year. So. But here you kind of change a little bit, have some fun with it.
The plays of the day are presented by Lexus.
Number 3, we start in Baltimore. Jays, O's, Manny Machado makes it look easy. A little leather larceny there. Would not be enough, though. Jays take care of the O's 4-3.
Number 2, we head to the Steel City. Cardinals Pirates. Starling Marte tries to test Jason Hayward's arm. Doesn't go too well. Hayward throws a strike to home to nail Marte. The Cubs complete the double play, and they beat the Pirates 3-0.
Number 1, yeah, you guessed it. Kristen Orthia, clearly motivated by his walk-up song, Quiet Riot's Mental Health, 1983. Nothing quiet about that. Third homer of the year sends Wrigley into a lather. Cubs win it 1-0 thanks to Quiet Riot and Kristen Orthia's walk-off. What would your walk-off song be, Kip Lewis?
You know, I'm a little older. You might not like it. I would probably go something just to mellow people out, like a little Commodores, something Lionel Richie and the crew. Yeah.
That would do the Commodores?
I don't know. You caught me off guard. I wasn't prepared.
Okay, you gonna ask me? I definitely would go T-Swift.
I know you're a Taylor Swift guy.
T-Swift or maybe Eminem.
You're definitely Taylor Swift.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching SportsNet Central.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
A pitcher who can paint the corners is known as a Rembrandt. At GMC, we get why people love that kind of precision. After all, in everything we build, that's exactly what we deliver. This is precision. This is GMC.
Now pay no interest for 5 years. Plus get $3,000 purchase cash on select 2015 Sierra Crew Cab SLT models in stock the longest.
The postseason's within reach, but now your Cubs set out to secure home field in a battle with Cincinnati. It's Rizzo and Russell against Frazier and Votto. Cubs versus Reds, starting at 6 on CSN.
Get a sneak peek at this week's game with Bears safety Antro Roll all season long.
I'll give you an insider's look at the key plays from last week's matchup and how we plan on tackling the next game.
Every Tuesday at 11 right here on Comcast SportsNet.
Menards has the largest selection of Ideal garage doors. All 5-star garage doors by Ideal are on sale. They feature tight weather seals, patented easy set spring systems, and durable 3-layer insulated construction. This 9x7-foot door is $349. Add convenience and security with Chamberlain garage door openers. This half-horsepower opener features a steel-reinforced belt drive and includes an internet gateway so it can be controlled by your smartphone. Only $179.
Save big money at Menards.
The beautiful sound of customers making the most of their United flight. Power, Wi-Fi, and streaming entertainment. That's Seize the Journey friendly.
I had a dream so big and loud, I jumped so high, I touched the cloud. I'm never gonna look back. Whoa, I'm never gonna give it up. No, please.
No matter if it's for something practical or someone special, TCF is in rhythm with your heart. Accelerate your goals and make them a reality with a TCF checking, savings, or money market account.
Live from Hallis Hall in Lake Forest, Illinois, the worldwide headquarters of the Chicago Bears and home to the Chicago Bears Network. This is Bears Recap, brought to you by United on Comcast SportsNet.
We welcome you into the PNC studio at Hallis Hall for another Monday edition of Bears Recap, brought to you by United Airlines. Alongside Dan Ricketts, I'm Chris Bowden. Everyone thought that this was going to be a difficult start to the Bears season as soon as the schedule came out. They have Green Bay and Arizona, and then a trip to Seattle sitting there for the Bears. And unfortunately, they weren't able to come away with a victory in any of those. Sitting here at 0-3, and while people were kind of hoping to breathe a sigh of relief after these first three games, you have an Oakland team that's now a young one that's on fire, coming to town on Sunday, and then two more playoff teams from 2014 coming after that. So there's no rest for the weary, and the Bears just have to put their nose down and keep on keeping on.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, that's the great thing about the NFL. Just when you think that a team is not going to do something and not have a decent season, all of a sudden they pop up like the Raiders have so far, and they do have that indeed. So every week is a measuring stick in the NFL, and the Bears are certainly finding that out with some really good football teams right at the start that they had to play. But that's the good news. The bad news is they're struggling to get a win. They're struggling to kind of put things together, and then there's a sea of change. You just feel something's about to happen.
Yeah, and we'll hear from John Fox a little bit later on in the show. He met with the media a little bit earlier to discuss what transpired yesterday, especially after taking a look at the film. Time for us now to look at the film and what went down yesterday at CenturyLink Field. Jimmy Clausen was getting his first start of the year, filling in for Jay Cutler, still sidelined by that hamstring injury. And early on, the Bears able to get some pressure on the quarterback. The first of 4 sacks on the day. Jarvis Jenkins able to come through and have a loss of 8. Bears were moving the ball on their second series, but fell short on that third down situation on the completion to Martellus Bennett. And then this happened, the first of two special team snafus, if you will, Jigs.
Behind the ball, boys.
Yeah, Patrick O'Donnell punting toward Richard Sherman, although it appears as though the coverage team was going to the right. Instead, Sherman grabbed it on the left. He got himself a long punt return that led to a field goal. And some good Bears defense down the goal line just before the half that also led to a field goal. 6-0 at halftime. Feeling a little bit confident coming out for the second half, and then more special teams difficulties, James.
Yeah, he's going to try a 105-yard kickoff return for a touchdown by a rookie. Tyler Lockett just goes the distance on this one. And, and then all of a sudden, all your plans for the second half, gone now.
Yeah, it's 13-0 ball game, and with the way the offense was struggling yesterday, tough thing to ask your offense to try and catch up to, and especially more so after Jimmy Graham caught that touchdown pass of 30 yards. The only touchdown the defense allowed on the day, and that would be, save for two more Seattle field goals, the end of the scoring. Your final score yesterday in Seattle, 26-0, first time since 2002 the Bears have been shut out. Matt Forte, 15 carries for 64 yards in the first half, held to 10 on 5 carries in the second half. The Bears got across midfield for just 2 plays in this one, all 10 possessions ending in punts. Jimmy Clausen, 9 completions for 63 yards. And you knew they were going to target Jimmy Graham after just 2 targets in Green Bay. Didn't actually destroy the Bears by any means. 7 catches for 83 and a touchdown. Seattle 0 for 6 in third down situations the first half, and they were able to improve on that in the second half, 5 for 10 to eventually pull away. But we mentioned the defense, and that was by far the best phase of what the Bears had going yesterday at CenturyLink Field. 4 field goals and 1 touchdown. So we take a look at the Bears defense by half so far this season through the first 3 games, kind of following a trend, although it was better yesterday, in which they only allowed those 13 points in the second half. I'm sorry, 13 points that the defense allowed in the second half. But you see the numbers in the first half compared to the second half so far in the first 3 games against the Packers and the Arizona Cardinals. And yesterday, the Seattle Seahawks, something to build on, trying to find a way to carry over in the second half. And Jigs, I imagine, as opponents make their first half adjustments in the locker room, countering these moves with the personnel within this scheme that's in place has been a work in progress.
That indeed has been. One of the other things reflected in there too, though, is whether or not the offense is staying on the field, and or is the defense running back out in that second half and spending significant minutes with the opposition. That's another thing that those numbers will reflect. So all of that goes back there. Again, they're kind of commingled there, but there's a responsibility on both sides of the ball to get out there and be productive. And offensively, they have not been able to do that in terms of putting points on the board. I look back at this game, and we talked about progress, and that's the one thing we're looking for out of this football team this season is progress in certain areas, and we saw it in the run game. Again, they came out in that first half, dominated the time of possession, and had it not been for a special teams play here or there, who knows? Come out the second half, kickoff return, touchdown, and virtually that whole game plan then of running the football and draining the clock had to go out the window, and then they started to try to throw the football a little bit more, kind of got away from the run game. And there you have it.
Let's talk a little bit more about some of the bright signs on the defense. And they were looking for a pass rush over the first 2 weeks, and they finally got it yesterday. And it started with Jarvis Jenkins, as we showed you during the highlight. He had a couple of sacks on consecutive series. The first one came on a 2nd and 1, and it wound up in an 8-yard loss on the Seahawks' first possession. And the second one came on a 3rd and 4 situation at the Bears 13 on the second possession, following that long punt return by Richard Sherman, and it forced Seattle to kick a field goal instead. So Jarvis Jenkins, one of the guys brought in by this regime, got after it yesterday.
Yeah, one of the things that's helpful too, though, is you notice the defensive ends too are pinching and keeping Russell Wilson inside the pocket, and that's what helps those guys. Then inside, they can get to the quarterback. You start pinching him, he can't step up. He can't avoid you by running through the front of the pocket. And those guys come around the corners and get him on the ground. And they were very successful with that yesterday. It's not only the sacks, it's the pressures. It's the uncomfortableness of the quarterback in the pocket. We saw him late in the second half. He got a little bit more comfortable in there. So.
Yeah, Pernell McPhee, you're seeing him right there as he had back-to-back sacks on the second possession of the second half. Again, the prime guy that the Bears brought in through free agency, coming through. Those 2 sacks totaled 15 yards and create a 3rd and 25 situation. So a week ago, we were talking about the one from McPhee that got away with Carson Palmer. He was able to close. The Seattle offensive line, vulnerable, a work in progress. Jimmy Graham, not the greatest blocker in the world. When you're set up in those situations, you have to come through. And McPhee did that along with Jenkins.
He really did. And it's not only in the passing game, too. Those guys are very active in the run game. That's the other thing. Again, watching what the defense was trying to accomplish, especially along the front, those guys wanted to try to dominate that line of scrimmage. In that first half, they dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, really. And in the second half, the defense kept after Seattle, but the Seattle just had a few too many weapons in the Bears' offense. Unfortunately, when you look at the receiving group, they're way down in numbers, and they just didn't have it.
Yeah, and one other positive came at the end of the half. We showed you one of the highlights there as well, the job Alan Ball did with Seattle. They got down inside the 5-yard line, but they were also dealing with a short clock. 13 seconds to go once they got that first down inside the 5. Russell Wilson, they went after Alan Ball a couple of times in that situation. There's a throwaway to that side, but Ball came up big on back-to-back throws, first to Jimmy Graham and then to Matthews.
Shall we say he was balling?
He was balling at that
No doubt.
And again, they were faced with that tough clock situation. They were able to get 3 plays off, 4 seconds apiece. Yep. But again, Ball there to deny any points on the board other than the field goal. So that created some positive impressions going to the halftime when you're only down 6-0. And John Fox, as you see, was a very happy camper about that. So something positive to work from as far as the cornerbacks are concerned. But then after Marshawn Lynch was earlier on that drive, had his last play of the game, ended up tweaking his hamstring. There was a whole lot going on with Marshawn Lynch yesterday, which you think was to the Bears' advantage. They didn't have to face beast mode, and he didn't seem quite the same at all, whether it was a calf earlier in the week or some back work he was getting, and then it was announced later as a hamstring injury. They called on a rookie, Thomas Rawls, and he had only 1 carry in the first half, but in the second half, he started getting things rolling, and that's the disappointing aspect on the rush defense. 15 carries for 98 yards, and on these instances, the Seattle offensive line did its job.
Yeah, and the one thing you didn't see Seattle able to do in that first half that they accomplished in the second half was a couple times they gashed the Bears' defense with some nice, solid runs, and that was really the difference, and then that loosened things up for their play-action passing game. So, it's like one of those things where, the longer you're out there, the better the chances for the opposition to have something good happen for themselves. And that's what happened in yesterday's game.
Let's hear some more post-game reaction from a member of that defense, Kip Lewis, able to catch up with Jarvis Jenkins afterwards.
It starts with interior rushing. When they 5-0 the interior line, doubling those outside linebackers, we have to get pressure, and we kind of did that today. And, we started getting pressure inside, and they started clamping it down, leaving outside linebackers one-on-ones. And, when you look at Vic Fangio's defense in San Fran, Alden Smith always had one-on-ones because Justin Smith getting pressure, Glenn Dorsey's getting pressure. So it starts with the interior line. Once we get, pressure in the inside, they started fanning it down and leaving those outside linebackers one-on-one, and that's when the game starts going.
It seems like you guys also got some confidence built up after that when you started to get there finally. Was that the case at all?
Most definitely. Like I said, we always preached about beating your man first and then get to the quarterback. I think, these past 2 weeks, we wasn't beating our man fast enough and, letting guys scramble up on us. So we keyed on beating your man first and then get to the quarterback, and we did that today.
How frustrating was it, though, just the fact that, it wasn't enough again, and now you guys sit here 0-3?
Got to finish, Like I said, it's, whether we're 0-3 or 3-0, the main thing is you got to finish. And, if you want to be a good team, in this NFL league and play playoff contenders like that, you got to learn how to finish because those guys never going to quit. And, mistakes will hurt you, and they did hurt us today.
So Jarvis Jenkins, the guy who was able to come through in the clutch. We mentioned McPhee as well. And also, we are awaiting word this week. Jeremiah Ratliff is able to return from his suspension, the 3-game suspension. The question being then whether he is totally healthy after suffering what looked like a pretty ugly ankle injury in that third exhibition game. Although we've seen him walking around in the locker room over the last couple weeks without a limp, a smile on his face. It remains to be seen whether he'll go on the practice field on Wednesday. We'll find out at that point when John Fox talks about the health situation. But if he is ready to go, this would be a nice shot in the arm for that front three.
Yeah, because they get their leader back. He's really, he can be a difference maker in the middle of that defensive line, and that's why the Bears brought him here. And certainly, injuries have played a little bit of a factor, and then the suspension and things like that. So everybody's waiting for Jeremiah to come back and get back to work.
Eddie Goldman, the rookie playing in his stead, did a fairly decent job while he was
he did.
The first 3 games. And now, so you have Jenkins and you have Eddie Goldman and Ego Ferguson. Will Sutton down with that biceps injury yesterday. But if Jeremiah Ratliff's able to go, that'd be a nice shot in the arm in terms of experience and quality of play that defensive line would get. We want to ask you to get interactive with us. If you folks have a question you want my partner here to answer on the air, just tweet us that Bears question using the hashtag #Cover2, and we'll get to it a little bit later on in the show. Still to come, we will hear from John Fox from what he had to say during his visit with the media earlier today, including his thoughts on the special teams and the difficulties they had yesterday, especially in that kickoff coverage and punt coverage teams. That more when Bears Recap, brought to you by United Airlines, continues.
The postseason's within reach, but now your Cubs set out to secure home field in a battle with Cincinnati. It's Rizzo and Russell against Frazier and Votto. Cubs versus Reds, starting at 6 on CSN.
The beautiful sound of customers making the most of their United flight. Power, Wi-Fi, and streaming entertainment. That's Seize the Journey friendly.
Hey, what's up, Troy? Okay, that it?
That'll do it.
Excuse me.
Hey, man.
Huge fan, man.
Oh, thank you.
All the touchdowns and the wins and...
Yeah, I don't like to dwell on the past, but thank you.
Yeah.
Aikman, touchdown, unbelievable. Aikman, touchdown, unbelievable. Aikman, touchdown, unbelievable.
I dwell on the past.
I would too. I don't blame you.
Okay.
As long as you are you, it's Miller time.
What's the key to business success? Stay on your toes and keep moving. Whether you're launching a new product or fighting off hackers, business has to be ready for anything. And your IT needs to support it. Forsyth Technology, together with leading partners like Cisco and Red Hat and technology supported by Intel, will help you get ready and stay ready by leveraging the power of the cloud without compromising security and control, giving your business a lasting competitive advantage.
Official tailgate partner of Soldier Field. We make the tailgate easy.
Back on Bears Recap with our University of Phoenix game-changing moment from yesterday. If I polled everybody, they could probably guess correctly. Coming out of the half when the Bears were down 6-0, and then seconds later, it's 12-0. Tyler Lockett taking it from the middle of the end zone, reading his blockers, locating a lane, and he's gone. Out racing Robbie Gould and Antrell Roll down the near sideline. First time in Bears history that they have allowed 2 kick return TDs in one season, and they came, unfortunately, on consecutive weeks. And as we saw in the first quarter as well, during our highlight, we showed you what happened there with Richard Sherman and Tyler Lockett playing the decoy, appearing to camp under that punt on the right side from Patrick O'Donnell. Instead, it went left while most of the coverage was heading right, and he had a whole lot of real estate in front of him to do a damaging punt return. As a matter of fact, it was O'Donnell who finally ended up being the guy tracking him down along with a teammate there. But lots for Jeff Rodgers on his plate in terms of these kickoff coverage teams. You'll hear John Fox address it. A lot of it has to do with some young guys familiarizing themselves with each other. But it's all about young guys doing their homework and buying in and knowing what to do in the right situation and communicating with each other as well.
I think a lot of times people assume that special teams is something that's pretty simple. You know, you run
it's probably the most complicated thing.
It's very complicated. And when you get, a situation where you have an outstanding coach to teach your special teams, you've got to pay attention to all the little details, particularly the younger you are, because there's a lot of stuff that can happen you have not seen before. So, when you're talking about running down on a punt, you understand, the punter is going to try to directionally punt the football. But what if that doesn't happen? And one of the other things they teach is when you're running down, is get to, find the football, because you could be overrunning it, you could be running into it, whatever. Find the football. And if you don't see it in your vision over here, you're running over to the right side of the field, well, then it must be over on the left side of the field. And that's what happened in that situation. So, a bit of miscommunication maybe, but still in all, you got to be aware of everything that's happening around you.
We saw the Bears pull that off a couple of years ago when Devin Hester and Johnny Knox were in their uniforms, and then St. Louis pulled it a couple of times, at least once last year. I think they really tried a couple of trickerations 2 times in one game, and one of them involved the exact thing that the Seattle Seahawks pulled off yesterday. And we will tell you that since week 1, folks, the days have been a little bit longer here for the players as, these coaches try to coach them up, get them on the same page. The effort is there. The work in progress continues, though, and hopefully you see a whole lot less of what you saw there yesterday.
It's one of those things where it's so involved, and you have so little time to really get into it, because special teams, the meetings are built around, offense and defense.
Everyone has their positional meetings, and
exactly.
That's
and then, and the teams normally, you have to come in early or you have to stay late for those, and a lot of guys are exhausted by the time they get to them or whatever. But then when you understand that, and again, we talk about this all the time, it's a third of the yardage of a football game.
Yeah.
It's very important.
And they've come out special teams-wise on the short end of all 3 games so far this season. Let's hear what John Fox had to say about the special teams and other things as well when he met the media upstairs here at Hallis Hall.
Really no new updates on the injuries from yesterday. Jamon Bushrod, as I told you yesterday, left the game with a concussion, and Will Sutton with a bicep injury. So both still being evaluated. We'll update you Wednesday.
There's a national report today that expects Alshon Jeffrey back Sunday.
Like all those reports you guys get, I've got no news to really report on that. I have no way of knowing, so I'm not sure how they do.
John, how do you evaluate the team on a week-to-week basis? I know you said that the evaluation process is ongoing, but as you look at it now, and 3 weeks in, where do you think you are? Are you about where you expected to be, or is this a long forward?
No, it's just like you try to predict even before the season. You know, it's hard to do. So you're right. We've had 3 opportunities in the regular season, and they haven't turned out like we expect. I think all 3 of them take on a different personality. I think every opponent takes on its own personality, how you match up as an individual football team versus your opponent. You know, obviously disappointed that we're 0-for-3 in those opportunities. I don't know that it's all been horrible. I know the result is horrible, but one hopefully that you know, we can grow and learn and get better for moving forward.
John, with 20 seconds left in the first half, Vic made a call to send 8 defenders back to the line there. Can you kind of walk through the philosophy of that in that circumstance?
Well, I think, you know, it might have been a play early. You know, I think we're probably our own worst critics. You know, I think Vic would probably tell you the same thing. I think as it turned out, we executed it well, and we were able to accomplish what the goal was. You know, at that point, they were in field goal range, and we were able to make that happen.
When you say play early, just because of the time or because they still had timeouts up?
Oh, I think it was just more of the time remaining. I think it was at 13 seconds, so you might have said 20, I can't remember. But, you know, they were able to punch it inside the 5. I think it was maybe the 4 or the 3. But, you know, Alan Ball made a couple good plays to get us out of that. And, you know, really at the end of that, we were pretty pleased to hold them to a field goal.
John, back to what you were talking about, the first 3 games and coming through there was something to learn from. Is there an element to that from playing 3 teams that, you know, won at least 11 games a year ago? They're all playoff teams. I mean, some of the best teams in the NFC for a team a program that's just starting out.
You know, I think, again, there's no consolation, as I mentioned before. You know, I think you go into every one of these things with expectations to win. You know, obviously, we haven't done that in all 3 of those opportunities. You know, there's no doubt that, you know, those teams have beat some pretty good teams along the way, and they are good football teams. But, you know, this league's about winning, and it doesn't matter who you line up against. And so we're still in that process. We haven't won our first game yet, and we're doing everything in our power to get that accomplished.
When we often look at numbers to evaluate the team. Sometimes they're skewed, sometimes they're not, and how good the team is or how well they're doing. As a manager of people, what do you look to that you've seen so far that kind of indicates to you that the team is headed in the right direction or the direction you want them headed? Well,
you know, again, it's a tough game played by tough people. It's a competitive game. You know, I think, you know, there's been parts of those games that I think we've been competitive in. You know, we just haven't done it for the long haul yet, all 60 minutes. You know, I'd remind people that 1.5 of those 3 games we were without our starting quarterback. It's not an excuse, it's just a reality. You know, we've missed some integral parts that hopefully at some point we get back. When that is, I don't put time frames on it. You know, and you know, but the good news is we've got to look at some other people and some other guys, see how they react in those situations, and you know, hopefully we're learning some stuff that'll help us moving forward.
Along those lines, John, would you consider starting David Fales at quarterback on Sunday?
You know, I would consider starting anybody on the 53-man roster. That's why they're here. You know, I think you know, obviously we want to pick the best 11. Whatever we deem that to be, and we won't know that till, you know, we check the injury report Wednesday.
Since you started working with Fales, John, the couple months you've known him and worked with him, what do you like about Fales?
Well, to be really honest with you, I really haven't got a chance to work with him much. I mean, he had a shoulder issue in the offseason that we've gotten well. He had a bit of a setback with an illness that he missed some time. So I was impressed with him when we threw him in the 4th preseason game against Cleveland. And, you know, I've been impressed with how he went about, you know, preparing himself. He's been on and off the 53 here in just 3 weeks. So obviously think well enough of him to bring him up to the 53 both times. That's what I kind of know.
After looking at the film, do you think Clausen played well enough to warrant another start?
Well, I'd say I didn't think our whole football team played well enough, obviously, to win the football game. There were some bright spots. You guys don't see them. I think, you know, on a pass-fail system. Nobody's totally pleased, but I think I don't think it came down to one guy that game.
John, special teams again. Ricketts, is there an explanation maybe in terms of younger guys playing special teams and not familiar with?
Well, I think really we've got young guys, whether they're young or not, because it's all new. Our special teams, offense and defense are all new systems to, these football players. And it's not an excuse. That group we played special teams wise has been together for a minute. And probably have, a few more veteran guys on there. But our guys are working hard. I mean, there were some pluses in that game. I thought our punt protection was pretty good. We did partially block 2 punts. So it wasn't all bad. I know it's got to be some kind of a record to go back-to-back games with kickoff returns for touchdowns. I'm not really proud of that, but hopefully, guys that are, on those teams, on that coverage team, are looking and learning as we speak, and hopefully we can get that fixed.
And watching the tape, what were your impressions of the pass rushers?
Well, I mean, everybody measures pass rush. I shouldn't say everybody. Some people, with sacks. I don't know that that's always the great evaluation, but I thought all in all our pass defense was a little bit improved. I think there's some things to work on or work off of. That we had a couple tighter coverages where Russell had to pull the ball down. That buys time for your rush, and I thought all in all we did a good job of corralling the guy in the rush. We didn't have people running 8 yards by him. We pushed the pocket up inside. I thought Jarvis Jenkins had a couple good examples of that. So like everything, you just try to keep improving every week, and I saw a bit of improvement in that area. Same thing with the red area, and same thing with third down. I'm talking about defensively. So it wasn't all negative, but just it's a lot of work for nothing.
Now, when you look back at Lockett's return touchdown, were some of those mistakes similar to the ones you saw the 2 weeks previous?
Yeah, I mean, a kickoff return is an offensive play. If you've ever seen a run play diagram, they have little lines, all right, and they represent blocks. When they're all blocked, they're all touchdowns. So that's true on offense, and kickoff returns an offensive play. So it's no different than playing any kind of defense. You got to get off blocks. If they block everybody, it's usually not good.
You mentioned third down. You guys were perfect in the first half on third downs, including 3 of them in short yardage. What encouraged you about the effort there early on third downs?
I think we executed better. this game's about taking what you learn and see in practice and converting it, to the pressure of a live game. And I think, that was an area of our football team that I think did show improvement.
John, you talked about how parts of games have been consistent so far. I think they've been more so in the first half, obviously. Mm-hmm. Granted, you also said you've been through half of it without your starting quarterback. But is there anything you can put your finger on as to why maybe coming out of the tunnel there seems to be a step back or lack of competitiveness where it wasn't in the first 30 minutes?
Yeah, I wouldn't, tab it as such, lack of competitiveness. I think, it's a matter of, they make adjustments, we make adjustments. Whether it's been different phases. It's to start the game 2 weeks ago. It was our kickoff coverage. To start the second half. This week it was kickoff coverage. I think defensively this past week it was pretty good defense in the first half. We got shut out in the first half just like we got shut out in the second half offensively. So I don't know that it's been anything real measurable other than, in this game you got to win 2 out of the 3 phases, and we haven't done that in any of our 3 games thus far. That's really the plain and simple truth of it. But, and against, what I would call 3 pretty decent teams.
John, what has the Ratliff done for you guys the last couple of weeks being in meetings, and is there a feel for whether he's healthy enough to return now that he's eligible?
I think, we'll have a better feel of that come Wednesday. He still has, all day today, all day tomorrow. And we'll evaluate him Wednesday, see what he's capable of doing. And, if he's healthy, he'll be out there.
John, what went into the decision to deactivate Willie Young?
I think special teams. We went with, it's really a lot of linebackers, outside linebackers, to have all of them up. So there's some shared roles. I don't want to go into too much detail as far as base downs, third down, special teams, fourth down is important. It's that all can change week to week, just like it's changed up till now.
You guys got a 4th and 1, John, in the third quarter, about 4 minutes left. You were close to midfield.
I think it was like 3:33 to be exact.
I think the Seahawks were up maybe 20 at that point. Did you think about going for it at all?
Yeah, but after I saw the third one, I wasn't too encouraged.
Were there situations, John, within the game plan where you would want to try going deep downfield in the passing game, or between their defensive backfield, your wide receiver situation, did that kind of scale those thoughts back?
Well, I thought, again, like I said, we're our own worst critics. Was it a conservative game plan? I'd say probably fair assessment. Could we have opened it up a little bit? That's probably fair. Whether the results been a lot different, I'm not sure. I think one of the pluses there is, they feed off of turnovers, and we didn't turn it over. It's our first game this year that we did not turn it over offensively. So, we need to generate more than 0 points to win games. There's no doubt. But that was, for the most part of our plan. Hopefully we could have kept third down a little more manageable and converted more. I think that was a struggle. That wasn't part of the plan to not convert on third down. So I think our guys kind of look at it, see what we did and how our plan was, and I'd say it worked better in the first half than the second half, but 6-0 is still enough to win by.
John, did the league say anything about that punt that went appeared to go off the leg of a blocking Seattle?
Yeah, it was kind of an odd bounce, to say the least. I'm not sure what they thought, but the communication that I got was it didn't appear to be enough to reverse the call.
John Fox from earlier today. When we return on Bears Recap, brought to you by United Airlines, we will tell you about the trade that they have just now officially announced involving Jared Allen. All the details coming up next on Bears Recap from the PNC Studios at Hallis Hall.
This is Pete. Pete is helping his aunt move, so he's not thinking about tires right now. But if he were, all he'd need to know is TireRack.com.
Right now, he could get a $60 Visa prepaid card when he buys a set of 4 select Pirelli tires. For details, you go to TireRack.com/Pirelli offer.
But Pete's not thinking about tires. Pete's thinking it would have been nice if his aunt had mentioned the Minor Bird. TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install.
Hey, what's up, my man Chuckles? How's it going? So, what's with the getup? Did I miss the memo or something like that? No, you missed out on the Illinois Lottery Cash for Life game. You can win thousands of dollars a week for the rest of your life. You know what that means, buddy? I'm not taking any chances. None.
Win up to $5,000 a week with Cash for Life from the Illinois Lottery. The longer you live, the more you get.
Easy there, Chuck.
How'd the house hunting go this weekend?
Love the houses. I'm worried about the mortgage rate.
You should see my car loan.
Guys, just go to LendingTree.com and shop for any loan. If you like saving money.
I like saving money.
Yeah, me too.
Are you sure you guys don't need oxygen masks or something? See you at the top. You're the LendingTree.
At LendingTree, shop and compare loan offers from top lenders, and in just 5 minutes, you could save thousands. LendingTree, the place to shop for money.
Don't be a hero.
Welcome back to the PNC studio at Hallis Hall. for Bears Recap, brought to you by United Airlines, and we can officially announce the breaking news from this afternoon, and that is the Bears have made a trade involving Jared Allen. They just announced moments ago officially they will be getting an undisclosed draft pick from the Carolina Panthers in exchange for Allen, pending a physical. Let me first get your immediate reaction to it. We also have a quote here from Ryan Pace that we'll pass along.
Well, you know, I think it makes sense for both sides because for Jared, it probably wasn't fair to ask him at 11, 12 years in the league to try to go up on 2 and play outside linebacker after he's had a successful career rushing the quarterback from a down position. He gets to go to a team that's going to use him in the natural skill set that he has for the 4-3, and then the Bears get back some draft picks. It wasn't working out, and I think that you saw that in the second half yesterday's game. He virtually disappeared, and that's because he wasn't on the field. And we're sitting around watching the game. Where's Jared? And you notice that Sam Acho was in there. So that was, and Sam has been playing that position. Previously coming here, he played it with the Cardinals. So. It just makes some sense.
Allen was in the building earlier today for some initial team meetings and had departed by the time the day wrapped up for the players. Let me read you this quote from Bears General Manager Ryan Pace. "We had some depth at the linebacker position, and we were able to reach an agreement with the Panthers to bring in a 2016 draft pick in exchange for Jared Allen. Whether it is acquiring additional picks or signing players, we will continue to be aggressive in finding ways to improve our football team. We appreciate Jared's contributions and wish him the best in Carolina." And Jiggs, I'll say this, he is the active sacks leader right now with 134, 5.5 last season. Had yet to get to the quarterback for a sack in the first 3 games this season. He is leading DeMarcus Ware by 5 among all-time active sacks leaders, but 9th all-time, just 3.5 behind Richard Dent and John Randall. And I'll say this, throughout the transition, Jared was always game about it.
Yeah, he was.
He signed on and was enthusiastic, and there is his last great play here in a Bears uniform, that deflection and interception late in the first half last week against Arizona. Always a good soldier, always a team guy, and he bought into the changes that was made when this Vic Fangio and John Fox came aboard.
He did, and the whole thing, I think if he looks back on his time here in Chicago, he did about everything you could have asked of him to do. He didn't get the quarterback down on the ground as much as we're used to seeing him do it. But I tell you what, he was definitely there for pressure situations going back to last season. So, and to me, I value that sometimes more than a sack necessarily, because a sack, you'll lose 2 or 3 yards in many cases. When you pressure the quarterback and put him under duress when he's trying to deliver down the field, many times he'll throw interceptions. That's a huge difference for me. Getting those picks, that's big time.
He was brought in a 4-year, $32 million contract 2 off seasons ago. Essentially, it was just a 2-year deal worth about $15.5 million, and tough to deal before the season because it was a pretty large cap hit. The Bears can't get rid of that yet, but he's going to a Carolina team that started off 3-0. He'll be reunited with Peanut Tillman, by the way, out there. He was a teammate for 1 year out there, and Ron Rivera has something going, although after they lost Greg Hardy, they were looking for some pass rush help. So
they want to inject some. You heard Brendan McPhee talk about injecting some violence into your defensive line. That's what they just did with the acquisition of Jared Allen. Again, one situation was not right from the 1 year. He'd like to get down to 3 instead of up on the 2. That's what he'll get to do as he moves on. And, let me ask you this though: for sure, Jared Allen a future Hall of Famer in your mind?
Oh, I would think so. Yeah,
I would think so as well. Yeah.
He had a great impact, especially I think he was a 4th-round draft pick, and
he's up in Minnesota.
Jumped right. Yeah, and he did most of his damage in Minnesota. Unfortunately, the Bears were on the receiving end of that. And the other thing was that he really was took a step back last season when he was knocked out, lost about 15 or 20 pounds due to mononucleosis, something that came out of the absolute blue, and he never was quite the same player after that. Dropped some serious pound and wasn't able to, I don't think even by the end of the season, regain all of that. So he was kind of behind the 8 ball about 3-4 years here into his Bears career too.
Yep, and like I said, this is a fair situation from both sides, so on we go. And by the way, this will not be the only change. I expect changes to continue, and that's just the way it goes. I mean, and we heard from John Fox earlier today, talking about the evaluation process And I think what they probably do every day is they go down, they sit down and look at the waiver wires and who's out there, and they look at the team's performance, and they say, can anybody out there, is there anyone out there now who can help us become a better football team? If they feel that there is, that's where they're going to be going.
And Ryan Pace said as much in the quote that we read you that was accompanying this deal. Correction that Jared Allen had pneumonia last year instead of mononucleosis. I'm mixing up my illnesses because Sam Acho, the guy who replaced him yesterday, apparently just had a bout with that he revealed last week once he was back on the roster. So recapping once again, Bears today trade Jared Allen to the Carolina Panthers for an undisclosed 2016 draft pick pending a physical. We wish Jared all the luck. Good guy, and we'll see what kind of impact he makes for Carolina, who is not on the Bears schedule for this season.
Chico gets another one.
When we come back, we will take a look at some other teams, particularly in the NFC North, and how the Vikings fared yesterday, how the Detroit Lions fared yesterday. Detroit, the Bears have some company at 0-3
yes,
in the NFC North. Take a look at that, as well as the Bears' next opponent as we roll on here on Bears Recap, brought to you by United Airlines.
Were you online giving it to someone last night?
You heard that?
Yeah, you've been giving it a lot lately.
Well, I guess it's just so easy.
You're so easy.
With DirecTV's new referral website, it's easier than ever to give your friends your account number. Just choose how you want to share, and they'll get everything they need to start saving. For each friend you sign up, you'll get $100 off your bill, and so will they. Let the giving begin at DirecTV.com.
Hi, I'm Dean Collins, operating partner at Gerald Nissan. At Gerald Nissan, we understand that this is your car buying experience, and we want to find the vehicle and price that's right for you. We have more awards for customer satisfaction than anyone else in Chicagoland, and we're one of only 38 dealers in the country awarded the Circle of Excellence for customer satisfaction. We also have the largest inventory in Chicagoland, and we sold 2,700 new Nissans last year, all backed by Gerald's exclusive lifetime warranty. Gerald Nissan's always a better deal, I guarantee it.
To some of us, home improvement isn't a chore. It's a privilege and a satisfying part of owning your own home. The tools and supplies you choose need to be able to deliver the same quality that you demand of the work you do. At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we understand, and we want to help you achieve the best job possible. For your next home repair or home improvement project, we'd like to help you make your life better with genuine value. From Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
Today's the day. No more. Let's go. Ball out on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ball out. How you doing? You miss me? Where's your sister? Where? She ain't come? All right. How you doing? I love you. Give me a kiss. All day. Great day, man. Great weather. That's what I'm talking about right here. Give me 3. Let's go. Hey, man, how you doing? Yeah, all day. Good. That's what I like to hear. Good luck, man. Good luck. Good luck, man. All right, go, Todd.
Martellus Bennett, snap is picked across in a 4-man rush. Hashtag throws, complete.
Ref. TV? Is it TV?
Giving left man Forte with Zach Miller out front. Bennett pushes them out as well. 20-yard line and a first down. rush, 3 drop 8, throw left. Martellus to catch.
Hey, let's calm down a little bit. Monty, and you and Claw take over.
Clausen in the pocket, waits for the crosser. It's caught by Bennett.
All day, baby. All day. All day. All day. Let's go.
After the play, Chancellor and Bennett exchanging pleasantries.
Hey, good game, bro. Love you, baby. Yeah, man. Keep going, man. Stay healthy. Oh, yeah, all day. Hey, good game, bro. Keep working. Keep working. You need help, too? Yeah. Oh, man, I wanted that ball. I wanted the ball higher this way.
Our thanks to the little Marty party with Martellus being mic'd up, going up against his brother yesterday. And
Ever fascinating, Marty Marr.
Sounds of the game. Look at the NFC North standings. Changing after tonight one way or another because the Packers are in action in the Monday Nighter, hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. Boy, a heavy Chiefs slant when we were getting opinions on postgame live last night.
Well, yeah, I mean, I kind of like the way that, I tell you what, you have to like the fact that the way that they're using the tight ends this year. The Chiefs is extraordinary in their defense.
They're almost forced to because they didn't have wide receivers the last few years either. But they do have
and their defense is just outstanding.
Yeah, so Minnesota moves to 2-1 yesterday while the Lions joined the Bears at 0-3. Let's go to the highlight. First up to the Twin Cities where the Vikings were taking on the San Diego Chargers as the NFC North opposite the AFC West in terms of interconference play this year. Adrian Peterson back in the house, and he scored his first 2 touchdowns in 22 months, a 43-yarder here. 20 carries, $126. That made it 17-7 in favor of the Vikes. Fourth quarter, Chargers trying to get back in it, and here's an oops moment as Rivers to Stevie Johnson deflected, and Chad Greenway huffing, puffing,
stumbling, bumbling.
He's got his blockers. Well, that's a purple wall up there. 91 yards to the house for the pick 6. The Vikings improved to 2-1, 31-14. As for last night in Motown, it was the Lions taking on Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. Late first quarter, Manning getting to work. Demaryius Thomas, the touchdown here to make it 14-6. Watch him elevate and get that ball running into the end zone backwards.
And how about Peyton a little juice on that one?
Demaryius Thomas, pretty good, too. Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad.
Maybe a couple extra hours rest allowed a little more zing on that ball for Peyton. Third quarter, Matthew Stafford to Amir Abdullah. That closed the gap to 14-12, but that's as close as they would get. 17-12 game late, another fantastic catch. Owen Daniels, the former quarterback for Naperville Central, he gets the touchdown reception from Peyton Manning. That makes it to 24-12, your final. And, you know, as disappointed as Chicago fans are, it's the theme we kind of touched on last week as we looked at some other winless teams. You have an 0-3 team in Baltimore. You have an 0-3 team in Detroit coming off a playoff appearance. Very high expectations there.
That's damning them with faint praise, though. The objective is not to be close to teams that are as bad as you.
Right. But
you want to try to raise the bar a little bit.
In terms of expectation level, though, what's going on in Detroit, there has to be a good deal of disappointment.
No doubt about it. And, you know, and when you look at them playing, last night as an example, they have some weapons at the wideout spots. No secret there. But it seems like Detroit consistently loses focus on how to use those weapons. Not that I'm asking them to wake up and figure out some ways to use them, but it's an amazing thing to see this kind of thing continually happen within an organization. And I mean, the same thing can be said for them going back for years.
Yep, so Detroit's sitting there at 0-3. The Bears will be getting them in 3 weeks right before the bye. Coming up, we'll take a look at the Bears' next opponent, the Oakland Raiders. Silver and black coming to town, coming off a win on the road. Okay, it was Cleveland, but it was still pretty impressive after beating Baltimore the week before. Closer look at what they got going, Silver and black, when we return on Bears Recap.
The guy can run.
The postseason's within reach, but now your Cubs set out to secure home field in a battle with Cincinnati. It's Rizzo and Russell against Frazier and Votto. Cubs versus Reds, starting at 6 on CSN.
The beautiful sound of customers making the most of their United flight. Power, Wi-Fi, and streaming entertainment. That's Seize the Journey friendly.
Hey, what's up, Troy? Okay, that it?
That'll do it.
Excuse me.
Hey, man.
Huge fan, man.
Oh, thank you.
All the touchdowns and the wins and...
Yeah, you know, I don't like to dwell on the past, but thank you.
Aikman touchdown, unbelievable. Aikman touchdown, unbelievable. Aikman touchdown,
I dwell on the past.
I would too.
I don't blame you.
Okay.
As long as you are you, it's Miller time.
Esurance was born online, which means fewer costs, which saves money. Their customer experience is virtually paperless, which saves paper, which saves money. They have smart online tools, so you only pay for what's right for you, which saves money. They settle claims quickly, which saves time, which saves money. They drive an all-hybrid claims fleet, which saves gas, which saves money. They were born online and built to save money, which means when they save, you save, because that's how it should work in the modern world. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
Bears Huddle takes you inside the locker room every week for a preview of the upcoming Bears matchup. Use the hashtag Bears Talk and chat with us on Twitter. Wednesday at 4:30, catch Bears Huddle, presented by Verizon, right here on CSN Chicago.
Oakland Raiders will be coming off a win against the Browns in Cleveland yesterday. Early on, second quarter, Derek Carr with a short touchdown pass to Andre Holmes of 3 yards to make it 10-0. 10-3 when Carr takes to the air again. Seth Roberts, 13 yards to widen that lead. And then up 20-10, Latavius Murray, 6-yard run, fighting his way up the gut to make it 27-10. They had to hold off a late charge by Cleveland to win this one 27-20. And who sealed the deal with a pick as the Browns are trying to march down the field for a game-tying touchdown?
The 80-year-old man.
Charles Woodson with the interception. He's going to be 39, I believe, a few days after the Bears play the Oakland Raiders on Sunday. Let's talk about their big weapons, though.
They're big and physical on their offensive and defensive lines.
Yeah, and Reggie McKenzie's last couple of drafts, and that's kind of, we've been comparing what the Bears are trying to do here, building through the draft. It's finally coming to fruition out in Oakland. They haven't made the playoffs since they made the Super Bowl in 2002. Derek Carr, their second-round pick from a year ago, had a bit of a sluggish start to his career. He's starting to come on. The brother of David had himself a nice outing against Baltimore, marched his team right down the field for a game-winning touchdown 2 weeks ago at home against the Ravens, and even their record at 1-1. I believe it's been a couple of years now since they've managed to win consecutive games. That's how down in the dumps this franchise has been. But this kid, perhaps one of the answers for them, as he has back-to-back 300-yard games that he'll bring into Soldier Field on the lakefront on Sunday. Then you have, we showed Latavius Murray. He's been running the ball quite well. They started giving him the ball late last season. Started the last couple of games. This kid's 6'3", 235, and he ran for
139
yards yesterday, including a 54-yard.
Probably runs a 4.3.
54-yard for the long, and here's a look at some of his carries. So this guy's a banger, has a little bit of breakaway speed. That's who the Bears will have to contend with as far as the running game is concerned next week. He's slicing and dicing his way through that Browns defense. There's that long 54-yard run. Couldn't quite break it free. Caught from behind, but impressive nonetheless. And then, unfortunately, the Bears don't have Kevin White. We would have loved to see a Kevin White versus Amari Cooper matchup, but Cooper is certainly living up to the hype. His best day so far of his 3 in the pros, 8 for 134. He has 20 receptions so far. And this guy out of Alabama, it was close between him and Kevin White.
Very
maybe
close.
Cooper, because he's been playing the position a little bit longer, precise route runner, really has some separation after that first move.
And they're saying he's the most polished receiver to come out of the draft for quite some time. That means you mentioned the quality of his routes. All of those things become important. They become huge.
And that's saying a lot with the talent level of receivers that's been coming out of college over
exactly
the last
right.
years. Immediate impact guys.
You can see a lot of guys who are going to the Jerry Rice or Terrell Owens School of Wide Receiver.
Time for another break here. Final break here on Bears Recap, brought to you by United Airlines. We'll go to our cover 2 questions for Jigs before we wrap things up here from Hallis Hall. Again, time for another break from the PNC studio. We'll be right back.
On Tuesday night, join Comcast SportsNet for a Coors Light viewing party at Chaser Sports Bar and Grill in Lake Zurich. Watch the Northsiders battle Cincinnati, enjoy Coors Light, and free giveaways. Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Great beer equals great responsibility.
On Friday, October 16th, join Comcast Sportsnet's Chuck Garfine as he hosts the 7th annual MDA Chicago Muscle Team Gala at Navy Pier. This fundraising event supports the Muscular Dystrophy Association and their summer camp program for kids. This special camp offers a week full of fun, laughter, and the opportunity for kids to bond and understand what it means to live with a muscle disease. Join us for a fun evening including local athletes, silent and live auctions, and a festive dinner. For tickets, visit chicagomuscleteam.org.
The beautiful sound of customers making the most of their United flight. Power, Wi-Fi, and streaming entertainment. That's Seize the Journey friendly.
No wonder Hyundai's ranked #1 in customer loyalty. Elantra, 7-inch touchscreen nav, remote start from my phone, rear view camera.
And America's best warranty.
America's best warranty.
That's a new one.
Back on Bears Recap with our Cover 2 segment. We ask you to tweet us your questions using the hashtag Cover2 for my Pards to answer. Of course, we explained earlier the Bears did trade Jared Allen to Carolina for a conditional 2016 draft pick. A little bit earlier on this hour, it was officially announced. Dan being asked, with Allen gone, do you think the Bears will make some more moves coming up?
I do think they probably got about 3 or 4 more left in them. Mainly because, again, the process that they're involved in, this is a process that's a lot different than we've become used to over the last, decade or so here. They're in an evaluation process, and then we'll start thinning this crowd out and going out and looking for some other players that might complement what they do.
Yeah, the trade deadline, I believe, comes away late next month at some point. We'll have to look into that. One more question that we can get to here, and it concerns the quarterback situation. If Jay Cutler is not ready to play this Sunday against Oakland, would you start Jimmy Clausen or prepare David Fales to play? This is strictly your opinion.
Strictly my opinion, but I think you give Jimmy one more shot to go out there and start. I don't know if it's fair to David Fales. David's been up and down, and at one point he wasn't even on the roster. So I would go again with Jimmy.
Have him at the ready in the event things aren't going well with Jimmy Clausen in the lab. We'll find out more about Jay on Wednesday when we hope you join us for Bears Huddle at 4:30. For Jigs, I'm Chris. Thanks for joining us.
Spokesperson. This is an important message for anyone who took the prescription drug Xarelto or Pradaxa and had a serious bleeding event. If you or a loved one took Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered from a serious bleeding event,
call 800-219-8212 immediately.
Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to serious internal bleeding, stroke, and death.
Call 800-219-8212 immediately.
You may be entitled to compensation. Call now for a free consultation.
If you have used the blood-thinning drug Xarelto, you may be at a higher risk for serious internal bleeding. If you or a loved one have taken Xarelto and suffered internal bleeding, gastrointestinal bleeding, kidney bleeding, brain hemorrhaging, or your loved one died, call the Rely On Group.
If you or a loved one took this drug and were injured, call the Rely On Group right now.
Call the Rely On Group now at 800-234-3116 for a free consultation.
Are you having problems with the IRS? Our trained professionals here at Wallen Associates have over 30 years experience helping individuals and businesses solve their tax problems.
Having tax issues, it's very scary. I was worried that we would lose our house. When I called Wallen Associates, they were able to meet with me in person, and I never had to talk to the IRS again.
Call now for a free consultation. We'll meet with you in person, face-to-face, at a local office near you.
Call now, 1-800-659-3470. We solve tax problems.
I'm Joe Madden, and you're watching the home of Cubs baseball on CSN Chicago.
When you talk about that much money, only thing you could do is prepare for it.
D. Rose raises eyebrows at Bulls Media Day. Hey everyone, I'm Kip Lewis, and this is SportsNet Central, presented by CLR. Rose may test free agency, but our Will Perdue thinks he knows the outcome.
He wants to play for the Chicago Bulls. He wants to bring a championship to Chicago.
The Cubs walk off the Royals in what they hope is a World Series preview. A couple of Bears clean out their lockers at Hallis Hall, while the Chiefs try to take the belt from the Packers on Monday Night Football. Think fast. SportsNet Central starts right now.
You are connected to SportsNet Central, presented by CLR.
A 20-game winner as he takes the mound for the Cubs here tonight. And he is toying with them right now. 8 batters and 6 strikeouts. Arrieta drives one. Hold that thought. Arrieta's hit it out. A rocket to right center. An opposite field home run for Jake Arrieta. He's pretty good.
It's time for the Hunt for October, presented by Feldco. Yeah, it's been quite a season for Jake Arrieta. The Cubs starter picked up win number 21 Sunday night, and he was also named the National League Player of the Week. Arrieta went 2-0 last week with a 0 ERA. Cubs in a makeup game with the Royals' final home game of the regular season. Chris Bryant playing first base, giving Anthony Rizzo just his second day off of the season. Bryant up in the first takes Yordano Ventura for a ride, but the ball dies at the track. Bryant gets his first fielding chance in the fourth. Mike Moustakas rips one down the line. It goes just over Bryant's glove. Moustakas pulls into second with a double. Royals got a chance to get something going. 2 batters later, Bryant makes the play on Alex Rios' bouncer, tosses to Kyle Hendricks. We're scoreless through 4. Meanwhile, Ventura is dealing for Kansas City. The Cubs send the minimum of 15 men to the plate in the first 5 innings. None of them reach base. 4 punch-outs for Ventura. He's perfect through 5. But in the 6th, Jorge Soler leading off. Singles sharply up the middle, the first Cubs base runner of the night. Ventura's bid for perfection now over. The Cubs, though, they can't score. Next inning, golden chance for Starlin Castro. Man at third with 2 outs, but Ventura makes him look silly. We're scoreless after 7. So we go to the top of the 9th, still scoreless. Lorenzo Cain at first, but Hector Rondon and Chris Coughlin catch him napping. Huge pickoff there. Cubs go down in order in the bottom of the half. So we head to extras. Nothing. Do it until the 11th.
Driven deep to left. Ball game over. Cubs win. Cubs win. Chris Denorfia.
Yeah, Chris Denorfia pinch hitting. Cubs win 1-0. Their regular season home finale, a huge success.
How sweet is that for Chris Denorfia? Has not
So it's the Cubs' major league leading 13th walk-off win of the year. And as they get ready for the playoffs, one good sign is the performances they've been getting from Kyle Hendricks. In the regular season home finale, he tossed 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, and had a career-high 9 strikeouts as the Cubs get that 1-0 win.
Dino comes off the bench. He's done a great job pinch hitting. He was ready. He's always ready. So, you know, he really hit that ball well, too. That was very loud. It was legit. So a well-played game. 2 playoff-bound teams. I thought it was it was intense in a good way. It was a very good baseball game.
These games are fun. You never quite know what's going to happen, especially when you got a guy like Rizzo who's a threat, and he changes the way that everybody uses pinch hitters. So it's you got to be ready when your name's called. That's all.
Well, before their game against the Pirates, Cardinals manager Mike Matheny said catcher Yadier Molina has been ruled out for the remainder of the regular season with a ligament tear in his left thumb, and his availability for the postseason is uncertain. Molina suffered the injury against the Cubs back on September 20th on a play at the plate. Meanwhile, Cardinals and Pirates opening up a 3-game set out in Pittsburgh. No score in the 7th. Scary moment, though. Center fielder Peter Borges and Stephen Piscotty collide in the outfield. Piscotty would lay motionless on the field for several minutes. Borges' knee would hit Piscotty in his head and neck area. Piscotty would wave to the crowd when he left the field on the cart. Initial scans were negative. Mike Matheny said afterwards, it's looking good. So in the 9th, after the Pirates' errors gave the Cardinals a 1-0 lead, Mark Reynolds adds to it. He goes yards, deep right center, 2-run shot that makes this game 3-0. The Cardinals score 3 in the 9th. They beat the Pirates 3-0. Here's a look at the NL Central following Monday's games. The Cardinals lead over the Pirates in the Central Division is now 4 games. The Cubs 7.5 back. In the wild card, the Cubs are 3.5 back of Pittsburgh. Plenty more on the Cubs on SportsNet Central. We'll go back to Wrigley Field for a full report from Kelly Crow. We'll hear from owner Tom Ricketts on how he's enjoyed this breakout season. Plus, we ask the players about their choice in walk-up songs. We'll talk a little T Swift later in the show. Well, the Bulls held Media Day at the Advocate Center and tip-off training camp today. Getting players healthy will be the first order of business, with Taj Gibson recovering from an ankle surgery and Mike Dunleavy likely to miss a month after a back procedure. But as Chuck Garfien reports, the focus was on Derrick Rose.
The Bulls have a new coach and new hope for the upcoming season. But much of the focus here on Media Day was on Derrick Rose. Plagued by injuries the last few seasons, this is the healthiest he's been in years.
Just getting back to a routine. This is something that I haven't did in 3 or 4 years, and now I have the opportunity to do it all over again or start back doing it again, and it felt good.
Speaking publicly for the first time since the sexual assault civil suit was filed against him, Rose professed his innocence.
I will be proven innocent, but at the same time, it hasn't affected anything. It's not true. I take it as motivation.
Derrick's part of our family, and Derrick has our full support, and I know that Derrick's got full support of his teammates. Like I talked about earlier, I think he's in a great place physically. I think he's in a really good place mentally.
He's a good teammate, good person on and off the court. He's been one of the best friends I had since I've been here. Always been supportive, so I'm behind him on 110%.
Rose says he's focusing on moving on from the lawsuit, and he's also looking ahead to his future. With 2 years remaining on his contract, he says his hope and dream is to re-sign with the Bulls. With all the money flowing into the league right now, he says he is keeping his options open.
You see all the money that they're passing out in this league, and just telling the truth. And just knowing that my day will be coming up soon.
Are you looking forward to the process of testing the market, or when you talk about thinking about that, thinking about here and getting paid to stay here?
Here is here, but when you talk about that much money, only thing you could do is prepare for it. We're trying to prepare not only myself but my family, and doing this all for my son.
At the Advocate Center, Chuck Garfien, Comcast SportsNet.
Thanks, Chuck. So you heard Rose is already thinking about free agency when he completes the final 2 years of his Bulls contract. Some people think a change of scenery might rejuvenate his career and perhaps take some pressure off him. But our Bulls PGL analyst, Will Perdue, says there's no way Rose leaves Chicago for another NBA team when he hits free agency.
He wants to stay here. People talk about the fact it could be better for him to go elsewhere and play because of the pressures. He wants to play for the Chicago Bulls. He wants to bring a championship to Chicago. I think people are going to try to read into that, but at the end of the day, we know what Derrick Rose is concerned about. He wants to try to win a championship here, and if you ask him a question, he's going to tell you what he's thinking.
I mentioned that sharpshooter Mike Dunleavy could miss the first month of the season after undergoing a back procedure just this past Friday. Dunleavy intends to be careful during his rehab with an injury where recurrence could be an issue. He said Monday that the 8 to 10 week time frame is just a guideline.
I don't have a set amount of time in my head that I want to get back. I haven't broken out the schedule and said, okay, 8 weeks from this Friday is this game. I want to be back for this game. You just can't do it that way. We've gone over a kind of a general schedule. It starts off with doing nothing for a while, unfortunately. So I've got to take my time with it. There is an issue with recurrence with these types of things. So it's just all about being safe about it, taking the proper steps, and, hopefully being back, sooner than later. But to put an absolute date on it, or if I'm not back in 8 to 10 weeks, it's not going to be the end of the world.
There appears to be a fire sale underway as the Bears made a couple of trades Monday, shipping away a pair of defensive players. We'll have reaction from Hallis Hall. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers look to maintain the top spot in the NFC North as they host the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Plus, Marcus Kruger and the Hawks continue to prep for the banner raising on opening night. The Swedish center says he knew all along he'd be back with the Hawks this season.
Do you have tough cleaning jobs around your house? Calcium deposits, lime, rust stains, yuck. Well, clean up fast with CLR. CLR's powerful formula blasts through tough cleaning problems inside and outside the house. It tackles buildup on shower heads, even coffee pots. And CLR has an EPA designed for the environment seal, so it's safer for your family and the planet. CLR, tough on yuck, gentle on everything else.
CLR is available at these fine stores.
Hey, Ralph Punzel.
Oh, hey, Ronnie.
Where are you headed?
Great Clips.
You're getting a haircut?
I checked in already. Using their online check-in.
Online check?
It saves you time.
You're getting a haircut.
Why? Thinking about applying to astronaut school.
That's cool.
Okay, I'll see you, Ronnie.
Next time, save time. Download the online check-in app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
The postseason's within reach, but now your Cubs set out to secure home field in a battle with Cincinnati. It's Rizzo and Russell against Frazier and Votto. Cubs versus Reds, starting at 6 on CSN.
When the game ends, switch back to CSN Chicago for Bears postgame live. The team will take you through all the key moments from the field, hear from Coach Fox, and get live player reactions. Bears postgame live, presented by Nissan, after every on CSN Chicago.
Saladino powers the silver and black attack into a Game 2 tilt with Eric Hosmer and the arch-rival Royals. Live from U.S. Cellular Field. White Sox, Royals, Wednesday at 7 on Comcast SportsNet.
Thursday on Plus, Hosa and the Hawks hit the road for a regular season tune-up in St. Louis. Blackhawks, Blues, Thursday at 7 on CSN Plus. Blackhawks preseason hockey on Comcast SportsNet is brought to you by AT&T UVerse high-speed internet.
On Tuesday night, join Comcast SportsNet for a Coors Light viewing party at Chaser Sports Bar and Grill in Lake Zurich. Watch the Northsiders battle Cincinnati, enjoy Coors Light, and free giveaways. Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Great beer equals great responsibility.
The Bears have traded Jared Allen to the Carolina Panthers for a conditional 6th-round pick next year. Allen never really fit in with the Bears' new 3-4 scheme this season. Carolina will pay his remaining salary of $823,000, while the Bears are on the hook for his $11.5 million roster bonus he's already been paid. Here's a look at what Allen did in his short time in Chicago. In 18 games with the Bears, Allen had 60 tackles, 5.5 sacks, and 1 interception, which came back in Week 2 against the Cardinals. Here's how Allen's teammates reacted to the news.
We lose a leader out of the locker room. We lose a great guy, a great teammate.
He can break down every, critique every spot on the defensive line, and it kind of gives you an edge to have a leader like that and give you pointers that's been in the league and did it and had a lot of sacks, and he's definitely going to be missed.
And it wasn't just Allen that was dealt. The Bears also traded John Bostic to the Patriots. Bostic was a second-round pick back in 2013, and at the time, it was hoped he would be a long-term piece in the Bears' defense. However, the former Florida Gator has been hampered by injuries over the last year. Elsewhere, the Green Bay Packers are the cream of the crop in the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers and company hoping to display that in their Monday night matchup with Kansas City at Lambeau Field. Lambeau rocking for Week 3's finale. Already up 7-0. Rodgers to Randall Cobb. Be a touchdown, Packers. 14-0 still in the second. Jamal Charles scores from 9 yards out, but he then mimics Rodgers' trademark discount double check celebration. Not something you want to do at Lambeau, and well, Aaron Rodgers made him pay. Torches the Chiefs for 3 more passing touchdowns, 5 total TDs for the reigning MVP. Green Bay stays undefeated. 38-28 is the final. The Blackhawks continue getting ready for the season opener a week from Wednesday at the United Center. They have 2 preseason games left, and we will get to see 2-time Cup champion Marcus Kruger play in those games. He was patient with the Hawks, working on a new deal this offseason. His late signing also produced visa issues, so he was a little late getting to Chicago, but the fourth-line center knew he would end up back here.
Obviously knew the situation here, what it was, and I just tried to be patient. We had good talks from the beginning, so I wasn't really worried it wouldn't happen.
He's a guy that we can rely on every night. A solid player up the middle, great centerman. So just one of those key guys that plays well on PK, can add some offense too.
Don't forget, the banner goes up at the United Center in just 8 days. Catch the game on NBC Sports Network, and make sure to check out our full pre- and post-game coverage right here on CSN as the Hawks take on the Rangers.
Driven deep to left. Ball game over. Cubs win. Cubs win. Chris
Denorfia closed out the Cubs' regular season home schedule in style, homering in the bottom of the 11th for the only run in the Cubs' 1-0 win over the Royals. It's their 13th walk-off win of the season, tops in the majors. Kelly Kroll was there and has more from Wrigley Field.
Chris Denorfia's second walk-off of the season was a fitting way for the Cubs to close out their final home game of the regular season.
It's what we play for. I've had the opportunity to do that only one other time in my career, and it's just the best feeling. I just can't describe it. I feel like a little kid again. I'm 35 years old, and it's just a running around the bases, just knowing what just happened and what's waiting for you at home plate. It's really something special.
Not quitting, man. I mean, the dugout is loose, alive every night. I have not seen us not be that way. So give our guys credit, man, for just, playing to the last drop every night.
Aside from Denorfia's late heroics, hits were hard to come by. Just 8 combined as 2 young righties dueled it out. Despite his 16th no decision, Kyle Hendricks carries some much-needed confidence into October after throwing 6 scoreless innings.
It's huge, when you're searching for it and then you finally see the results after a while. You need something like that for sure, but Miggy was great back there, guys making the plays behind me, and just a good game. Glad we could get the win.
Primarily, I think the ball was on the ground, or a lot of. How many strikeouts did he have? 6 or 7? 9. Dang. So he had that going on. He just had everything going on tonight. He was really sharp.
Denorfia played Superman, but it was Chris Bryant who was Madden's wild card. The Cubs All-Star made his first major league start at first base, but by the end of the evening had played 4 different positions. And it's that versatility that Madden loves so much about this group. Different players, different positions, same winning results. With the Cubs at Wrigley Field, I'm Kelly Kroll for Comcast Sportsnet.
Thanks, Kelly. The Cubs announced their season attendance finished out at just under 3 million, the most they've had since 2011. No question that Joe Madden's club has emerged as a legitimate contender in the National League. The Cubs' new skipper has given the team an identity, keeping the clubhouse loose and keeping the team confident. And Cubs owner Tom Ricketts is thrilled with what he's seen at the friendly confines.
It's been a fantastic summer. I mean, it really has. Like, to watch Joe and what he's done with the young players, to watch all these young guys come in and have them develop, to see Jake have the kind of year he's had. I mean, it's really been special. And in walking around the ballpark, as you know, I do every game, like, it's just the energy is just so positive, and people know that we're onto something special. I think we'll be very successful in the playoffs, and I think part of it is they have the confidence that I mentioned briefly earlier, and you know, it is just baseball, and Joe will remind them. I mean, Joe has a history of taking relatively young teams pretty deep in the playoffs. And I think part of it is he just reminds the guys, hey, you're good ball players. We're a good team. We won a lot of games. We can play with these guys. Let's just get out there and do it.
From T Swift to 2 Chainz, the Cubs have had a blast choosing their walk-up music for the first time at Wrigley Field. They'll tell us what goes into their choices next on SportsNet Central.
Do you have tough cleaning jobs around your house? Calcium deposits, lime, rust stains, yuck. Well, clean up fast with CLR. CLR's powerful formula blasts through tough cleaning problems inside and outside the house. It tackles buildup on shower heads, even coffee pots. And CLR has an EPA designed for the environment seal, so it's safer for your family and the planet. CLR, tough on yuck, gentle on everything else.
CLR is available at these fine stores.
I have League Pass at home. I've had it for a while. I'm a huge fan of the game. I still enjoy watching other teams play.
You can watch any game, any story. I think it's great.
A lot of times on the road, I carry around a laptop and I can stream the games.
I'm able to look down at my phone when I get the ticker, seeing that there's something special happening. 37.25!
I've never seen anything like that. My eyes were glued to the TV.
It was unbelievable.
At the end of the day, I'm a fan of the game. That's the best part about it.
Follow us on NBA League Pass.
Welcome to Riverfront Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram and the North Aurora Auto Mall. During our Jeep Celebration event, 500 new Chryslers, Dodges, Jeeps, and Ram trucks are available for immediate delivery. We want your business. We can and we will beat any deal. Yep, any deal. Go online to buyatriverfront.com to see our lowest legitimate prices. That's buyatriverfront.com for real prices. Or stop by in the North Aurora Auto Mall just off I-88 and Orchard Road. If you make the drive, we will make the deal.
This message is for all Americans that owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS.
Call the number on your screen now and we will contact the IRS on your behalf, help you end wage garnishments, stop collection calls, remove tax liens, get rid of IRS and state tax penalties, and reduce the amount you owe if you qualify.
Let us take the stress of back taxes and the IRS off your shoulders so you can spend time on the important things in your life, like your family or your business. If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, call now and find out how we can help you.
SportsNet Central every night at 6:30, 10, 10:30, and midnight.
We're back with our Great Clips download of the week, and it features the most popular video on CSNChicago.com this past week. High school football down in Texas. The Midland League kicker lines up for the extra point. The kick is low, and check it out. Hits the referee in the head and then deflects through the uprights. It's good. To see more, log on to our CSNChicago.com website and download the Great Clips app on your iPhone or Android and save some time today. With the new scoreboards and speaker system at Wrigley, the Cubs joined the rest of Major League Baseball and added players' walk-up music this year. We take a look at the Northsiders' choice of music in our Hunt for October presented by Feldco.
We all love music. I think everybody loves music. So when you get to hear somebody's cool walk-up music, one, it says a lot about their personality, and two, it's fun for us in the dugout. Or when I hear songs now, even on the radio, like, oh, there's Rizzo's walk song, or there, there's Addie's walk-up song. So it's pretty cool. It just is like they're your little staple, or your little signature move in baseball, I guess.
Yeah, for me, I keep mine the same the whole year, but I think it's something that's not too popular, that gets you pumped for your at-bat or for your inning, your pitching, or your start. But a lot of guys change theirs here and there. I keep mine the same all year long, but we have some pretty good ones on the team, I think.
You listen to your iPod or
you're just sitting there listening to music. You're like, oh, this could be a really good walk-up song for when I go up to the plate. It's just something that relaxes you, something that gets you fired up. Whatever works for that person. It just kind of hits you when you're listening to your music.
Whoever knows me knows that I like a lot of different genres of music, but T-Swift Bad Blood, I think it's a good one.
The crowd gets going with it. You knew that, though.
Of course. We got a lot of guys that have good crowd-pleasing songs.
Definitely Rizzo's walk-up music. It's more house music, upbeat, poppy feel, great women vocalist on there, and it sounds good, and he rocks it pretty well.
Rizzo's got a catchy tune, Rizzo's got a catchy tune. I like Hendrix, I like Hamill, I like Mott. I like them all. It's added a different element, I think, to the game. And the fans are cool there because they talk about it a lot, Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. But, I think the guys got it nailed down pretty good.
A lot of people like to put their walk-ups to like what they like to listen to or what they like to jam to or what gets them pumped, Me, I kind of like to have my walk-up like kind of reflect on who I am. I'm kind of like a laid-back guy, It's Vampire by Travel Seed. It starts out, la da da, and that part kind of gets me pumped, but the overall genre of reggae, it just keeps me chill, relaxed, and in some ways, it kind of pumps me up.
In college and stuff, I thought really hard about mine because we didn't change ours in college, so you had yours, you stuck with it the whole year, so. But here you kind of change a little bit, have some fun with it.
Sounds good, guys. Dan Herron and the Cubs close out the regular season with a 6-game road trip starting tonight in Cincinnati. First pitch is scheduled for 6:10 right here on CSN. Make sure to stick around for Cubs postgame live with David Kaplan and Todd Hollinsworth after the final out. The Nationals on Monday suspended closer Jonathan Papelbon 4 games for his dugout incident with Bryce Harper. The MLB suspended him an additional 3 games for throwing at Manny Machado, meaning Papelbon's season is over. Papelbon called out Harper for not running out of pop-up, then choked the National League's favorite to win the MVP award.
The plays of the day are presented by Lexus.
Number 3, in Baltimore, Blue Jays Orioles, Manny Machado makes it look easy. Dives to rob the Jays' Ryan Goins of an infield hit. It wouldn't be enough for the O's, though. The Blue Jays beat the Orioles 4-3. Number 2, we head to the Steel City for the Cardinals Pirates. Starling Marte tries to test Jason Hayward's arm. That doesn't go so well. Hayward throws a strike to home to nail Marte. The Cubs complete the double play, and they beat the Pirates 3-0. Number 1, kind of easy, really, if you think about it. Let's go to the north side. That would be Chris DeNorfia. Leads off the 11th inning in style. Sends one into the bleachers, and the Cubs walk off. His 3rd homer of the year sends Wrigley Field into a frenzy. The Cubs win 1-0 in extras. And that is it for this edition of the show. Thanks for joining us for SportsNet Central, presented by CLR. And for all your sports news 24/7, stay logged on to csnchicago.com. For all of us here, I'm Kip Lewis. Have a great day.
Do you have tough cleaning jobs around your house? Calcium deposits, lime, rust stains, yuck. Well, clean up fast with CLR. CLR's powerful formula blasts through tough cleaning problems inside and outside the house. It tackles buildup on shower heads, even coffee pots. And CLR has an EPA designed for the environment seal, so it's safer for your family and the planet. CLR, tough on yuck, gentle on everything else.
CLR is available at these fine stores.
The postseason's within reach, but now your Cubs set out to secure home field in a battle with Cincinnati. It's Rizzo and Russell against Frazier and Votto. Cubs versus Reds, starting at 6 on CSN.
Hey, I fix my heart and my broken bones. If I can't stand up on my own, don't make me stand alone. So I can see the light. For when the sun goes down, I will lay in your arms tonight. Don't be afraid, your heart's been repaid.
Thursday on Plus, Hosa and the Hawks hit the road for a regular season tune-up in St. Louis. Blackhawks Blues Thursday at 7 on CSN+. Blackhawks preseason hockey on Comcast SportsNet is brought to you by AT&T UVerse high-speed internet.
It's that time of year. There's going to be a lot that scares you. Replacing your windows shouldn't be one of them.
Call 866 for Feldco.
Right now, get 2 windows for the price of 1, plus no money down and no interest until 2017.
Hurry, this treat and 2 windows for the price of 1 ends soon. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
Beautiful night here at Wrigley Field. The postseason-bound Chicago Cubs play their final regular season home game. It's a makeup of a May 30th rainout as they welcome in the Kansas City Royals. Great to have you with us, Jim DeShays and Len Casper. The Cubs will be a wild card team. The Royals have already clinched the American League Central. And JD, we're going to basically show you how tough the Central has been by looking at the teams with the best records.
Yeah, with the old saw about real estate, location. Tough year to be placed in the NL Central. You see the best records in Major League Baseball, Cardinals and Pirates setting the pace, but the Cubs and Royals with identical records. Now let's take a look at the standings and see how that shakes out. The Royals very comfortably out in front. They've won their division 10 games better than the Twins. The Cubs are there 90-65, good enough for third place and a wild card play-in game.
And the Pirates are hosting the Cardinals tonight in the first of a big 3-game set. Cubs 5-4 on this exciting homestand that has included a clinch for the postseason. They'll host the Royals. Maybe a World Series preview next.
You're going to feel good about the purchase. They're going to stand behind it. The service is beyond what you'd expect.
I'm Dan Fields of the Fields Auto Group. Welcome to the all-new Fields Land Rover Northfield. We simply treat people the way we want to be treated. It includes our free loaners, free car washes, and cafes. It's all part of our Fields Matters program. Fields matters because you matter.
And now at Fields Land Rover Northfield, lease a new 2015 Range Rover Evoque Pure Plus 5-door for only $419 per month for 33 months. Or get 1.9% APR financing for 60 months. Fields Land Rover Northfield.
If you have used the blood-thinning drug Xarelto, you may be at a higher risk for serious internal bleeding. If you or a loved one have taken Xarelto and suffered internal bleeding, gastrointestinal bleeding, kidney bleeding, brain hemorrhaging, or your loved one died, call the Rely On Group.
If you or a loved one took this drug and were injured, call the Rely On Group right now.
Call the Rely On Group now at 800-234-3116 for a free consultation.
Are you having problems with the IRS? Our trained professionals here at Wallen Associates have over 30 years experience helping individuals and businesses solve their tax problems.
Having tax issues, it's very scary. I was worried that we would lose our house. When I called Wallen Associates, they were able to meet with me in person.